Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Newsam. I'm sure you guys are having a really great week. Um, Please leave any feedback regarding my videos. I would love to hear from you all. Thank you. So California is putting up females onto their corporate board. So what does this mean? Our country's biggest companies include a lot more women onto their head platforms, and the smaller companies, they fall behind. But now in the state of California, all this has been changing. According to new data, the gap has been discounting due to the state began requiring public company boards to include female directors. In September 2018, when California had passed the approval into law, around 91 California-based companies in the Russell 3000, which is the index that includes most companies trading on major U.S. stock exchanges, had made up of all male on boards. According to data from Equilar, which is a corporate governance data firm, out of all those companies, 8 were in the bottom 2,000 in reference of market value. But recently, at the end of last year, 2019, was the deadline for California boards to have at least one female director in their company. The smaller company boards with no woman had their percentage dropped to 6. Because of the law in force now, the data shows smaller companies to modify their boardrooms faster than many might have done otherwise. Equilar Research Director Courtney Yu said the California Bill Ready supercharged that movement. And now the pressure to diversify is not only in California, but in other places too. Chief Executive David Solomon at investment bank Goldman Sachs said that starting this July, it won't take companies public in the US or Europe if their boards don't consist of at least one female or non-white director. Other companies and big investors such as BlackRock and State Street Global Advisors have also pushed their companies to add more women. Hilary Sale, who is a Georgetown University law professor and a chairwoman of the Direct Women Board Institute, said that smaller companies typically don't get as much analysis coverage or attention from institutional investors. Now, throughout the whole nation, the number of women gap remains depending upon smaller and larger companies. At the end of 2019, the 1,000 biggest publicly traded companies, women were made up more than a quarter of all board directors. And according to Equilar, in the Russell 3000, women took 19% of board seats at smaller companies. But more than 200 companies outside the top 1,000 still had all male boards, compared with 14 within the top 1,000. The corporate directors and board recruiters said that one reason why small companies are less probable to have female directors is that they are usually the product of Progress Venture or private equity. Now, Kelly Breslin Wright is a perfect example, as she was the first woman to serve on each of her 4 boards. She is the former executive vice president of sales at data visualization company Tableau Software. And she said, it is really about who you know. And she also added that's for herself. In order to put herself out there in spotlight, she met with investors that she had worked with throughout her career. And for her 2 colleges and business school alma maters, she assisted in arranging the reunions. And for sure, get herself engaged with groups that mainly focus on keeping women on board. She mentioned that when companies rely on outside recruiting firms to approach a wider range of candidates, it's not that sure that the board will add a woman or someone from a minority background. Her personal experience was that at a number of occasions, a recruiter had suggested her for a director post, but the board eventually hired someone it or the company already knew. So, by the end of last year, public firms in California that didn't have at least one female director on board dealt with a $100,000 fine. In 2018, California was marketed 29th among states in the share of female directors with 17.4%. And by the end of last year, 2019, it ranked 16th with 23%.